Hello, world! What's up, guys? Dave Van Auken back at it again. Once again, the Fight Banaz podcast. How's everyone doing out there? Happy Friday. Good gracious almighty, we do love some Fridays. A fight week Friday. Hopefully everyone's being safe. It's getting a little warm out here, especially here in Florida. Sunny. Hopefully pools are involved this weekend. Beaches are involved. Lakes, rivers. But hopefully everyone's being good out there, being safe. We're just going to chit-chat. A lot to get to. A scrum of MMA topics and theories and stories. So we're just going to literally peel away. First of all, a little quick commercial. Felicia Phenom Spencer. Main event, UFC 250. Monday morning, Fight Banaz podcast, 9 a.m. Boom, go get it. Just go get it. There you go. It's going to be incredible. It's going to be fight week for Felicia, challenging maybe the greatest female fighter of all time, Amanda Nunes. Main event in UFC 250. What an epic number. Gosh. UFC 200 was Amanda Nunes and Miesha Tate. UFC 250, Felicia and Amanda. And one thing what I love about this matchup, and what I'm going to ask Felicia about Monday morning, is the opportunity to have that Chris Weidman moment. The opportunity to have the Matt Serra moment. There's not a lot of times that the underdog, the Rudy, the mindset of just beating an all-time great, a GOAT conversation. Anderson Silva, GSP, now Amanda, especially on the female side, I don't think there's a lot of debate on the conversation. She's just kind of known as the best female fighter of all time. And Felicia Spencer has the opportunity, has the chance to dethrone it, to upset, and to capture the female featherweight championship of this world. I cannot wait. So that's Monday morning. We're going to talk about UFC 250 today, but we won't get into a lot of the Phenom versus Amanda fight because we got Felicia coming in on Monday, so we're going to save a lot of that good content there, but it's a commercial for you. So free, absolutely free. Subscribe, download, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, YouTube, whatever, all podcast platforms. Felicia Spencer, Monday morning. Boom, you're welcome. So, first topic at hand is this UFC 250 card. I love it. And the more and more, podcasts I do, and the more people I talk to, the more people, reach out to me, ask for my opinions or questions or concerns. And a lot of people are reaching out about, they thought the weakness of UFC 250. They thought UFC 249, and it was, guys, it was. It's fight to fight, main eventers, Hall of Famers, legends, just, bangers. When you have Price versus Luque, second, third fight of the night, it's like when you got Bryce Mitchell, not main event in the prelims, just, part of the prelims, him and Rosa. It's like, I get it. UFC 249 was historic. But that doesn't mean that UFC 250 is lackluster or weak by any means. Like the UFC 250 card, for, us, for the fans, for the MMA insiders, for, trying to move the sport forward, it's stacked. I absolutely love this card. The prelims are awesome. The main event in Alex and Chase Hooper. Are you kidding me? Like, that's a great fight. And Chase Hooper has star potential written all over him. He's Mr. M&M's, Mr. UFC Fight Pass. We had him here on the Fight Banaz podcast probably a couple weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, a month ago. And he's I think, the Michael Jordan of MMA social media. He's unreal. If you don't follow him on all social media platforms, you're missing out. You got Boom Keller, on the prelims. It's stacked. And then the main card. Guys, I don't like the idea that people with Sugar Shane O'Malley, right? He's on the main card and he's fighting Wineland. And people are like, "Oh, they're setting him up. They gave him a fight." For one, guys, Eddie Wineland isn't a stud. You can't be around the game for as long as he has and be a UFC veteran as much as he has if you don't have absolutely top-end skills. So let's just get that out of the window. Just, get that out of the picture right away. And O'Malley's not saying he's the number one contender. I love his mindset. He goes, he wants to win fights, multiple fights. Why do we try to rush people all the time? Like, we didn't say this about Tony Ferguson 11 fights ago. Oh, my goodness, he's got an easy one here. Let fighters fight the way up. I think this is a huge step up for O'Malley to fight someone who's been in the octagon, 15 times, 18 times. This is a huge step up. And especially in 2020, there's no gimmies anymore, guys. There's just not. The evolution of MMA, the evolution of the Ultimate Fighting Championship, there's no gimmies. Get out of here with that. Come on. This is Big Boy Podcast. We don't just, they're trying to give Sugar Shane O'Malley the championship bout. So, let's just give him a wackadoo. Come on, guys. That's a legit fight. I got Sugar Shane O'Malley, though, by the way. But up the card, I love so it's very bantamweight full. We got Cody No Love in the co-main event versus Rafael. We got Sterling. That's the fight I want to get to real quick because, like I said, we got Phenom on Monday. We got Felicia Spencer. Sanhagen versus Sterling. It's in the third spot. It's in the 3-hole. I like that. It's where for baseball fans out there, you want your best hitter usually to be in the 3-hole. You want Aaron Judge. You want Barry Bonds to be in the 3-hole. So Sterling Sanhagen, I don't think they were disappointed, but they thought that maybe should have been for this vacant Bantamweight Championship, which that is my very, very next topic that I will get into. It's a great fight, guys. This is one right now. The names, maybe the buzz or, the reviews, the ratings, the mainstream are probably not all over this fight. But 2 years from now, you can be like, wow, that happened then? It's just one of those fights that, guys, do you remember when Conor McGregor fought Max Holloway? Like, that happened on a prelim. If that fight happens now, it's the main event of any pay-per-view on this planet. It main events over everything. And for no championship belt. Nothing on the line. Literally just a super fight, if you want to throw out that term, McGregor-Holloway. 2. So you got Sterling and Sanhagen. It is absolutely the number one contendership. It is for who's going to fight for the belt next. Absolutely. There's just no way around it. I don't think either man can win. If it's some kind of really controversial DQ or a split decision that everyone thinks goes the other way, maybe. But even that, guys, I think Jose Aldo lost to Marlon Morales and still got the title match, right? Like, people thought he won. The UFC brass thought he won. And then Jose got the shot. It's like, so that's what happens. This fight is for the number one contendership of the UFC Bantamweight title. That's just what it is. Get used to it. We like I said, Felicia and Amanda's the main event, UFC 250. That's next Saturday. That's June 6th. Super, super pumped for that. So we're going to get into the vacant Bantamweight Championship. Henry Cejudo, one of the old-timers. I'm not going to get into the GOAT talk. I think, I'm over it. Oh, my goodness. It's like, I know we're in this getting out of the pandemic a little bit, guys, but come on. It's just like, it's like chop radio. It's like I'm just tired. It's all perspective, and especially you go through different eras and the weight classes too. That's so hard. It's, a football player, Lawrence Taylor or Tom Brady, Jerry Rice. It's really hard to debate those three because there are three totally different positions on the field. It's a lot easier for basketball because Jordan and LeBron and Kobe all shot, dribbled, defended, rebounded, and passed. They all play the same game at the same time. Like, it's just, they play 42 minutes on the hard court. It's in MMA, GSP's in a different era of Khabib Nurmagomedov in different weight classes. Fedor fought mostly in a squared ring, not an octagon. So it's tough, guys. I'm not going to get into a GOAT conversation. And one guy that's probably not talked about enough in it maybe is Jose Aldo. So there we go. Cejudo's out of the Bantamweight Championship. Cejudo and Peter Yan inserted in. I love it. Give it to me. Dana White, in an interview, ESPN, Twitter, boom, broke a couple days ago. Love it, love it, love it. Yan, I think everyone sees the skill set. His last win was against Uriah Faber, which some people thought that's not the greatest competition for him. But guys, come on, you can see talent, right? Like you watch that show The Voice or American Idol. Maybe they're not singing the greatest song ever, but if they sing the Beach Boys or they sing Maroon 5, you can see if they can sing very quickly. You can hear it. Oh yeah, she's great. They're singing Sunday Morning, Maroon 5. Every Sunday morning. Dun, 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 dun. Like, you can tell if who can sing and who's not. And, sorry, guys, I'm one of those guys that can't. So, Yan and Aldo for the championship. I absolutely love it. What a great fight. It's going to be... I've always loved this. I don't know why. Maybe because I think the reason why the new school, old school really tickles me so much is I loved watching Aldo for 7 straight pay-per-views, win and defend the title and kind of come up through the WEC. So, like, I have this, connection to Jose Aldo. I have the connection to the Apex main event this Saturday, which, I already called. I picked Woodley to defeat Burns. So I've watched Woodley for 4 years. I watched Woodley in Strikeforce on Showtime. I'm one of those guys. So I have this connection to him. So when he fights a new blood like Gilbert Burns, and when Aldo fights a new blood like Yan, I'm all in. I just love it. I love this new school, old school, passing the torch. It's just, to me, I love seeing the new guard take over the old school. All right, guys, 2 kind of news topics that I really want to jump into. One is more of like a, whoa, okay, and then second's a little bit of a conversational debate, and we always love that in mixed martial arts. First one, Colby Covington, guys, leaves American Top Team. Like, whoa, I saw that, and, I'm very honored, or, it's really cool that I have awesome ties down there, and I communicate with coaches and fighters literally every day, especially from Coconut Creek. It's real. The Covington Masvidal, the Covington Poirier, it's real. It's a thing. It's not a work. It's not Mike Tyson and AEW with Vitor Belfort and Henry Cejudo. A work that they say in the game. It was really real. You have to feel comfortable in your state of work. You have to feel good, and I just couldn't imagine, grinding, lifting weights on the mats with fighters, working with fighters, and kind of every now and then looking over your head. If the BMF or one of the best lightweight fighters in the world, Dustin or Georgie, is going to walk in and kind of, throw hands, like that would, to me, be a very uncomfortable work environment. And, it seems like Colby Covington in this, especially the new gimmick that he's all in, and hey, I understand it. He's making money. He's definitely a different person, different fighter from 2-3 years ago. And hey, okay, that's part of this shtick. I'm down. Okay, I'm a fan. His fight with Usman was one of the best fights of the year last year. what's next for him. And he was just adamant about he wants to create his own team. He's leaving ATT, and we're going to see if that was a good career move for him or not. Only time can tell. Only time can tell if that was the right move to make. Sometimes egos and, the game and the shtick sometimes can get in the way of careers. Sometimes it's the best thing for your career, and sometimes it's the worst. Maybe a one apology, or maybe Covington kind of saying behind the scenes, hey, guys, I'm kind of doing this thing. I have the utmost respect for you guys. I want to be here. Some of the best coaches in the world, maybe the greatest MMA gym in the world here, Coconut Creek. I want to be here. But I'm kind of doing this thing. Hey, if we got to bang it out in the octagon one time, sure be it. But, much respect. I don't want any bad blood. Hey, maybe that was the right move. Maybe it's not. Maybe him going to his own gym and having more coaches to be all in with him. We just heard the Justin Gaethje on Joe Rogan podcast with Coach Whitman. It's you think about it, and if you could get that one-on-one, a camp based just on you, not just you kind of part of a team, maybe that's the way to go. Maybe that's going to be 2021. All the top 22 best fighters in the world be like, guys, it's cool to be in a team environment, and a lot of people kind of bounce and, shine through that. But some guys, hey, when I'm in this gym for 7 weeks to train for a mega fight, a title fight, a super fight, I want it to be about me. I'm going to bring in people, long weight classes. I'm going to bring in, if you're fighting a Tony, I want long and aggressive and strikers. Those are the guys I'm going to bring in. If Covington's going to fight, the wrestler base, a Volkanovski type, right? If he's going to fight a 170, a welterweight grinder, maybe he wants to bring in some bulldogs. Maybe he wants to bring in some wrestlers. A Sid Outlaw comes to my mind. Was down there at ATT that, can wrestle his tail off. So maybe that's the new era of mixed martial arts, is the top end guys, the guys who kind of made it through the team, can, make the big money to get the pay-per-view points. Maybe it's them creating their own team, their own camp. We'll see. And kind of transition in here, too, we mentioned Masvidal. And with Covington, hey, that might be next. What I want to get into is a little bit, it's always a very topical topic to talk about. All I have to do in the title, this podcast, Fight Bananas, I think it's around 240. If I just put Masvidal and Conor McGregor talk, boom, downloads, views, watches, subscriptions. Sometimes it's just the best thing for business. McGregor, Masvidal. But is it in a way now in 2020? Conor defeated Cowboy in January. He said he won it 3 times, and I know the pandemic happened, and maybe you don't want Conor without a crowd, and I do get that, and I understand it, and that's a valid point. That's why I think we haven't seen him been matched up yet. I really do. But then Masvidal defeated Diaz for the BMF title in December. The Rock, MSG, maybe the greatest UFC event of all time. But both names haven't been matched since. The fight hasn't even fell through. Sometimes, McGregor, Aldo, they tried to make that fight a couple times. Of course, I don't even want to mention, I don't even want to throw out there the whole Habib and Tony thing that we will never see. But it's just not odd. It's mysterious that McGregor and Masvidal is still not on a poster. Some people thought they would be on a poster against each other. A BMF title. Maybe, I think Georgie and Conor would be the biggest fight in UFC's history. Especially right now. How hot they are, what they're coming off of, the weight class, everything. I think it would be bananas. But neither one of them's got to fight. And you know my kind of take on it, why I think in a weird way they're kind of like they're getting too big for the spot. It seems like a lot of times, of course, you want Rousey and you want Lesnar and you want McGregor and you want Pierre on these posters. Of course. But sometimes they demand so much money, attention, TLC, the points, the bucks, the girls. They want it all. And the UFC is just kind of, in a way, especially now through this pandemic, they're kind of microwaving cards. They're putting cards out. There's fights everywhere. June is going to be insane. 6-7 cards in June. People were bashing UFC 250, which I tried to explain how stacked of a card that really is. You know, we got Woodley Burns Saturday night. Love the main event. But to the, the outside world, outside the MMA world, there's not 4 fights that people know about. There's 8 fights that I love on it. You know, we just had Chris Gutierrez on the podcast 3 days ago, and he's in the first fight. I love that fight. Him versus Morales. Love it. So it seems like they're just microwaving events to get, more fighters on, to just keep on creating events, keep on creating revenue streams, ESPN Plus, ESPN, get your sponsors out there. I get it. Trust me, I did it. Fight Bananas, we had our 2 best months ever through a pandemic. We're just putting out content. More people are available. People want content right now more than ever. People are watching old quarterbacks hit golf balls, and they love it. So I just think in the time that we're in this corona pandemic, Masvidal and McGregor are just too big. Their names are just too big for the posters right now. It needs to settle. It needs to bake. It needs to go in the oven for 50 days. And right now, the UFC, they're cooking popcorn. Man. So pumped, guys. So pumped. So much great stuff is happening. Just it's very excited time to be a mixed martial arts fan. Probably the last 2 things I want to take. One, I had a tweet about the festival thing. We'll get into that. But before, kind of what I was talking about cooking and baking and microwaving, and it's I threw it out there about UFC 250, and it's the card kind of last 24, 36 hours ago was like finally finalized. Like, boom, here's the 5-6 prelims, here's the 5 on the main card, the order, main event, third hole, right? And this is a question towards you guys. And I want you to comment, get back at me. You can always reach me at David Van Auken, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, get at me. What's the proper time that you, the fans, want for the card, for the hype? And a lot of it is, guys, the mysterious of what's going to happen. Who's going to win? What the storylines? I want to see those 3-minute videos, the UFC embeddeds, the countdowns. Like, these shows are epic. To me, I'm a huge fan of that. I want to know behind the scenes, and because if Ferguson, Habib Nurmagomedov ever happens, it's just going to go down as the fight cannot ever live up to the hype. The hype is a huge part of the fight game. Maybe bigger than what people even think it is. So what's a proper time for you guys to be like, okay, this is the ample amount of hype that I want. I want 3 weeks. If just say they're going to throw Masvidal Diaz 2. They're going to make that fight happen. BMF, Diaz wants the rematch. Masvidal doesn't turn down anyone. I think the money will be right for both men. we want Masvidal Diaz. How much time do you need? You know, this is the end of May, so let's just say June 1st, right? You know, maybe you haven't listened to it the day this podcast has been uploaded. Shame on you, right? Like, come on, it's out here. Go get it. So if it's June 1st, how much time do you want? Some people say, 8 or 10 weeks. Some people say that's way too much time. Like a lot can happen in 8 or 10 weeks. Or, sometimes you got to strike while the iron's hot. If you announce it and then it's so far away, you kind of lose some luster. I agree with that. I might be wrong on this, but it seems like Floyd Money Mayweather, right? One of the biggest draws in boxing history. Usually it's like a 4, 5, maybe 6 week hype train camp. He's already back in shape. The cardio's there. And it's the last week is usually a press tour. Or when the fight's announced. You want a solid month of training camp and dieting and food and, strength and conditioning. I get that. So what's the proper time? This UFC 250 card, the co-main event, it's been 9 days. The show's less than a week from now, a week from now. Is that enough time? Is that too rushed? I feel it is. I like I like a month. A month is a sweet spot. A month to me is, I like to marinate my steak. I want to kind of chew on it. I want to listen to different podcasts. I want to talk about it. I want to have a breakdown on it. I want to have the suspense and the anticipation for it. But then I also don't want 2 months. I don't want to forget about it. I don't want anything to happen to it and then it's like, okay, this is the trade on. Someone got hurt. Weight cut didn't go its way. The money wasn't right, whatever. But it's like, to me, a sweet spot is a month. How about for you? All right, guys, we're going to close this show with this. Multiple weeks ago, the UFC Jacksonville week 249 fight night, Teixeira, Anthony Smith, which Glover Teixeira was just on the Fight Finance podcast. Oh, my God, it was incredible. One of the best episodes we've ever had. And then they ended the week with Overeem and Walt Harris, big ticket, the return. Man, still makes me emotional. Walt Harris back in the octagon. What a man. Much respect to that man. But one thing, I loved it that it was just, I loved the Wednesday fight night. I love the momentum of multiple shows in one set-in for 1 week. So, I threw it out there. A tweet, and I got a lot of great reactions. Hey, I'm telling you, you can slide into the DMs anytime, guys. I love it. Good or bad. Sometimes it's like, hey, that's an awful idea or that's a bad pick. Okay, come with it. I'm fine with that. I'm a man. I got shoulders. I can take it. So I threw out there about the festival. I threw out there that it's not UFC 2, 3, or 4 anymore. We're at UFC 250, and it's a global phenomenon. It's a global event that over 200 countries watch when it happens. I think we should really, as MMA, I think we should sink our teeth in more of not just kind of coming in and having a Saturday night fight that's kind of the fight night for 30 years and leave. I think we miss a huge opportunity. That's how concerts used to be, guys. Imagine Dragons used to just fly into Austin, Texas on a Friday, or drive the bus. They get there Saturday morning. They rehearse real quick. They go back on the school bus. They eat, drink, or other activities. 8:30, around 20 minutes late, fashionably late, and then they play their 12 best songs, and then they leave. But imagine if they're there a week, what they can do, how many fans they can reach, how much connections they can make. And imagine Dragons, if they, and that's what they do now, they become a part of festivals, Bonnaroo, Woodstock, a big one here in the Southeast, the Hangout Festival, Gulf Shores, Alabama, Orange Beach. Check it out. Look at it. Hangout Festival. My wife and I, we just went to a killer festival a couple years ago, camping 4 or 5 days. It was incredible. And we saw bands that I would never think of before, never see. They were just a part of the show. We went there for Wiz Khalifa, and we went there for The Roots, and we went there for, what was that? Mumford & Sons, right? We went there for multiple bands, but we saw a lot of new stuff. We saw stars like Bryce Mitchell, Kevin Holland. We saw a lot of new people come up. How about Chase Sherman kicking legs and eating Buffalo wings? Buffalo Wild Wings, you know what I mean? So there's a lot of new stuff that can happen when you kind of take over a week. And this is my idea. This is my plan. This is the game plan. I'm not just chattering. I got resolutions here. Everyone shows up Monday morning. I mean, 3 cards deep, multiple fighters, old Keith Jardine, Chuck Liddell's, Uriah Faber's, icons of MMA. Everyone shows up on Monday. Tuesday morning is weigh-ins for the show on Wednesday night. I'm going to have a fight night on Wednesday night. I'm going to put it on ESPN, Big Boys channel. Guys, when you think of football, of course it's on Sunday and Sunday nights on NBC. But then I think of, it's just what I'm a Monday person. I love wrestling, Monday Night Raw. I always think of football on Monday night. Monday Night Football. To me, it's iconic. I think of football on Mondays. I do. And now they're taking over Thursdays on Fox. Fantasy football people out there, you know what I mean? That Thursday night game is so awesome. It kind of kicks off the weekend. It's the first game. It's so exciting to kind of start the football and betting. Thursday night is football. But also to me, Thursday night, if I'm an NBA guy, it's the TNT night as well. A lot of basketball, good games. West Coast game Thursday night, LeBron, Lakers. You know what I mean? You got the Celtics on the East Coast game versus Durant and Kyrie for Brooklyn. It's a good night, Thursday night. To me, nothing is... I don't have any connection, or about Wednesday. Wednesday is not a sports day or night. Let's make it. Let's change the world. The UFC can make Wednesday their night. Go all in. Let's do it. UFC Wednesday night. Boom. So that's what happens. You have the weigh-ins on Tuesday, and then maybe even on a Tuesday night, right? You have some of the people, because Saturday's the pay-per-view. Saturday's the show. Saturday is the main event. Masvidal DS2. Right? We're in Kansas City. We're here for a week. We're in Anaheim. We're in Boston. Great sports cities, great towns, good places to have fun. You want the fighters to have a good week. You fly them all out. But there's so much opportunities in sponsorships and deals. You kind of get hooked up. You get hooked up with sport body armor, right? And you have a Tuesday night body armor with some of the big fighters, and they kiss babies and they drink the drink, and that's just what you do. You make money. They weigh in on Tuesday. Wednesday night is now ESPN. They have a fight night. Boom. And you have a lot of young, really great fighters on the come up, right? A lot of Contender Series guys and girls. And you have main eventers that might not be main eventers of, the pay-per-views, the big Saturday night shows. You give Bryce Mitchell a main event. You give Greg Hardy a main event. You give Jillian the Savage Robertson main events. These are ways to get their face on posters, create superstars, put their names on the map. Let's create. Let's build. Sugar, Shane O'Malley, main eventing. That would be good for business because now when they're ready and they win 4 or 5 in a row, I've seen O'Malley on the poster. I've seen the tattoos. I've seen the hair. I've seen O'Malley on the poster. You have a connection. So that's Wednesday. You have a great card. You put it on ESPN. Boom. You create. You build. You big. Thursday now is a UFC Fight Pass event. Thursday is a grappling show, which I don't know if you've heard. I'm all into all these uber super fight grappling shows. Quit 10 Ultra had a killer show at the end of last year. Submission Underground's hot. You have a grappling event. Shoot, maybe you have an Roy Jones boxing event for UFC Fight Pass. Or you have these great regional shows, Island Fights, LFA, Titan FC, and there's many more that's under that UFC Fight Pass umbrella. You give them a ton of buzz. You give them a ton of connection that they're on Thursday night on UFC Fight Pass. And because they're there in Anaheim, Boston, and Kansas City, you have these connections. You see the people on the come up. You see the next generation superstars. Or the grappling show, for goodness gracious, the Quintet Ultra had 23 Hall of Famers. Look it up. Quintet Ultra, and then you create stars like one of our favorites here, Miss Danielle Kelly. So now you have Thursday night. You don't want to tire your audience, but people love content, and especially us MMA fans, we love it. Monday, everyone arrives. Tuesday, the weigh-ins. Tuesday night, you make money, take pictures, kiss babies. Wednesday, the event. Thursday is another event, but it's on the Fight Pass. You give people content. It's $9.99 a month. Go get it. Friday are the weigh-ins, just like they are now. 9, 10 a.m., you weigh in. 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. You got a big stage. You got the audience there. You get people pumped for Masvidal Diaz too. Saturday night, like normal, buy it for $64.95 HD, ESPN Plus, UFC 251, UFC 257. Guys, the UFC is not a concert anymore. The UFC is an event. It's a festival. There we go, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. It was just a scrum of topics and debates and questions and conversations. I'm Dave Van Auken. You can follow me on any social media platform. Come get it. Go get it. Definitely all the Fight Bananas podcast, guys. iHeartRadio, Apple Podcast. We're creating content. We're churning content. Of course, subscribe to our Fight Bananas YouTube channel. We appreciate that very, very much. Watch the ads, okay? Watch the ads. We gotta pay people, so watch the ads. Wells Fargo Bank. There you go, guys. Thank you so much. This has been another edition of the Fight Bananas podcast.